Hello and welcome to another Leica review. Today we are looking at Voigtlander lenses for Leica cameras. As you may know, Voigtlander has been producing Leica M-mount lenses for a very long time. And some of their lenses are extremely well constructed and they provide a very unique look. Now, this unique look can be differentiated very easily from the look of Leica lenses due to the nature of the lens coatings. The lens coatings provide a different look than what we normally get with the Leica lenses. The Leica lenses have a very natural skin tones, but when you look at the Voigtlander lenses, they're a little bit more contrasty, and if you look at the images side by side, you're going to see differences where the Voigtlander lenses will have a bluer or more colder look than Leica lenses. So in this example, I want to show you how you can use and how you can tweak these images to provide a very appealing, very pleasing image. And for that very reason, I want to go into depth on how I use this lens on the field and show you and share with you some of these photographs that I've taken. I used a Leica M240. You can use a Leica M10 or any other camera that is from the Leica's M lineup. What you will have is, if you're using the Leica M240 and the Leica M10, image quality will just be the same. There will not be any differences if you look at it closely. Now, if you did use the CCD type of sensors like the M9, you are gonna get a difference because of the way the sensor processes the image. So without further ado, let's look at this lens in more depth. And also, before I mention all this, I want to briefly discuss why this lens is a little bit different. And that is because this lens construction is designed from 7 elements in 6 groups. It is a very, very particular design. It has 10 aperture blades, so it gives you those roundish bokehs, which you will see. And also it is 428 grams. So what that means is that it's a hefty lens. It's well made. It's all metal construction. It is a very smooth aperture dials and everything else. And what's most important is that this lens dials down to f1.1, almost as fast as a Leica Noctilux, but yet it costs well, less than $1,000. In fact, it's on sale right now. If you go and check on the links down below, you're going to find that this lens is one that is a very big attention grabber if you are into getting those beautiful bokehs from wide open apertures. And a fast lens today at this price is almost impossible to find. This is the reason for those who are starting out in photography and want to buy a cheap lens instead of being able to, afford lenses that are going to cost tens of thousands of dollars. Well, here is one lens that is going to deliver results. Beyond that, I will say that this lens has a high reflective surface, which means that it's going to reduce most of the chromatic aberrations. And when I looked at these images for chromatic aberration, there were almost none. I did try to shoot towards the branches directly into the sunlight, and basically it's no different than using some of the top end lenses from Leica, because the coatings on the lens plus the way the surface is on the Voigtlander is, it delivers results that are very, very close to what Leica has been able to do with chromatic aberration. First image I'd like you to look at is this black and white photo, and the reason I took this photo is in the dark and it's at night, and this image is very particular because I want to show you the shape of the bokeh. Because it's a 10 blade aperture, it's going to give you these beautiful bokeh. In fact, the bokeh is somewhat different on this one. It looks more like an anamorphic lens field, which is oval, but in effect this lens does not have this abnormal octagonal shapes that you often find in cheaper lenses. This lens delivers incredible beauty with the bokeh. And look at the fall off on this image. You're going to find that the fall off is very strong. You're going to see the separation from the background and how the image is so clear. It delivers and able to deliver incredible detail and that is because the lens is manufactured from the highest optical quality elements, and this lens also performs equally well if you are going to use it in color, which we're going to look at. But also notice this lens delivers results. You can see all the fine lines, all the fine details, because the Voigtlander company also produces lenses for Zeiss, and namely, if you remember, Cosina, which is their parent company, they produce Zeiss Auto series type of lenses, and those are high quality lenses and they deliver amazing results. So they do know how to produce lenses. It's just that they don't price their lenses as high. For those reasons, I feel that this is a bargain. Again, I wanted to show you in the next photograph, which is this corner where this light was shining on this spider web, and I wanted to capture it and indicate how the subtleties in the tonal ranges can be seen as the gradation of tone changes from the light to dark. In this photograph, you can see that even though it's at night, I'm not using any tripod, I'm just using the camera handheld, I'm able to get very accurate and very sharp images. This is the reason I like this lens. And look at the subtlety. It has this beautiful tonal range that mimics the look of very, very expensive lenses. Now, the next photograph I also want you to look at is the same image from a little bit further distance, so you can see how it beautifully blends in. This could be a lens that you can use in your everyday photography, especially if you're shooting black and white, because black and white photography requires the tonal ranges to be reflected accurately. One of my favorite cameras to use with this lens is the M246, which is a monochrome camera, and that camera is able to read the luminescence, which is the light that's coming in, to produce very accurate, very sharp images that almost mimics the medium format cameras. So in this image, you can see how those tonal ranges can be easily noticed. Notice the one on the atelier, which is the top part, where the tonal ranges change. And then the next image is also a black and white photography. I shot this in total darkness. You can see the truck headlights, but they are not overexposed. They give you the subtleties that this is a night shot. Everything is well controlled. None of the shadows is like completely lost, and the highlights are not overly powering. So it's beautifully balanced. It is one of the hardest photographs to take and be able to render an accurate image. And this image is one of those images that you can say, wow, this camera lens combination delivers great results. And this is partly because you can go down to f2, f1.5, even f1.1, you are going to get very sharp images. Nothing is out of focus, everything is perfect. Now, I wanted to go into the color photography. This is one of the ones that I wanted to show you. Look at how beautiful the background is. The background has these beautiful tones. This one was shot at f5.6. You can see that the background is still blurred a little bit. There is a little bit of bokeh, but you can see it and this is one of the beautiful characteristics of this lens. You can have that 3D pop that comes with it. And look at the skin tones. Skin tones is very nice. It's a little cooler. It's not as yellowish, not as pinkish as the Leicas. But this is actually what I see when I'm seeing it. And also you can tweak this by adjusting the color temperature on your camera's settings. You can take this photograph and import it into Lightroom or any other software. You can adjust the temperature of the photograph, which is the Kelvin scale, and you can get warmer tones or cooler tones, and it's going to give you that beautiful rendition of skin tones. Now in this case, you can see that those skin tones are perfectly rendered, and this is one of the drawbacks that you can compensate if you are into that very warm look, which is often associated with Leica lenses. This one has got cooler tones, but it's well controlled. It's more accurate if you know how to dial in, for example, lower light situations or where you do not want overly saturated images. this photograph, the one that is the skateboarder, is very interesting too. I wanted to show what the background might look like and how it would separate from the subject matter. And you can see it's so well balanced. It is an image that I really like because between the light that is shining on the side of his face, which is coming from behind, which is the setting sun, and the front of his shirt, you can see that there are the subtleties, the changes in tonalities, and this is what we are looking for. And also look at it, it's the golden yellow hue of the sunset that is hitting his face, and it's giving that beautiful rendition of colors. And also if you look at the other side of his face where it's in shadow, that is also reflected very well. Next image is this lady who's going to be probably biking. I wanted to capture this image in a 3D pop, where I wanted to separate the subject matter from the background, and you can clearly see that the subject matter does stand out in the image and your eyes is automatically drawn to it. This is the beauty of using a lens that can separate and differentiate between the background and the subject that is in focus. This is what you should be looking for when you're purchasing a lens. Can it perform that 3D separation? And this one, we can clearly see that it has performed the way it's supposed to. Now, finally, I wanted to show you exactly what the bokeh characteristics can be. You notice that in this photograph where we have these branches and trees, and right in the center is someone who's coming forward. And you can see that the branches have this slightly swirly bokeh, which gives a sort of unique quality to the image, which a lot of people look for. And you can get this effect if you are using this lens. For me, this is a unique character that only certain lenses do. Some people like the bokeh to be very flat, only just blur. Some people like it swirly. It depends on your taste in photography. In this one, it is not overly drastic, so it's a pleasing one. It's one that kind of like a whirlpool effect where your eyes is drawn to the center, and you can see how the person coming forward is well captured. Finally, I wanted to give you a portrait type of photography, and this one is of this beautiful young lady. I took this photograph and you can see how beautiful those details are on her face, how she stands from the background. It's just an amazing photograph, and I love the way that the features on her face speak to us. There is a character to the photograph, and this is what we really want. We don't want that flat look that we get with most of the modern lenses, where everything seems to be kind of everything in focus kind of look, or everything is in a one plane. This one has this three-dimensionality that has been the trademark of these Voigtlander lenses. And also I wanted to show you how it would render images if you were to use it wide open. Here again, I took photograph of this chandelier or lighting in this public space, and you can see the lights that are close to the lens are in focus, the ones that are further away are out of focus. Yet you can see that the image is very sharp when it's in focus, especially. You can see that it's very good. And also look at the corners. You're going to see that the corners are not distorted, they're not soft, they're beautiful, and this is what we would like the lens to render. Some people think that because you are using the lens wide open at f1.1 that you should be having softer corners. No, you don't have to have softer corners. You can have beautiful corners that is part of the image if you're going to use it. And this is something that I really like. Even if you shot this at f4, f5.6, you're going to see that the edges hold it and there is no vignetting. That's one of the beautiful aspects of this lens. The 50mm Voigtlander f1.1 delivers this beautiful image without vignetting on the corners. It's beautiful, and you can take this image again to Lightroom and to ensure that you don't have anything on the corners that is vignetting. You can remove vignetting, you can remove much of the chromatic aberration, but you cannot remove a low quality image. This one delivers high quality image. You're gonna get beautiful corners, you're gonna get very little chromatic aberration, and more importantly, you're gonna get that 3D pop. I wanted to shoot this at wide open aperture to show how it performs in the dark in low light situations. This one is on utter pitch black. The only thing we are going to have is this distant lights, the street lamps, and you can see how the lights shimmer on the water, and also how they kind of exude a little bit of light in the frame. Yet you can see the character of the image. It's not just black and a bit of light. It is the gradational tones that you'll also find in the image. And this is what is beautiful about it. You can use this lens wide open to do photography at night and deliver results that are practically impossible without a fast lens like this. Now, if you want to purchase this lens, and I think it's a great idea, especially if you have other lenses along your lineup and you have tried them out, this is one lens that is going to be very, very cheap to purchase. Once you purchase it, you can use it for multiple purpose photography. It's an all-round lens, and you don't have to worry about banging this lens or losing it, because you can easily replace it for a very, very low price. Beyond that, it's so well made. It's got all metal construction, glass like the old school Leica lenses, and it just delivers amazing performance. Now, I personally like to use this lens because at night it gives these beautiful tonalities. I like the colder, bluer tones that comes at night with the street lights, or also with indoor lighting. This is the one that delivers those almost cinematic look, the separation from the background, the 3D pop. That's what I'm looking for in my images. Now, if I'm shooting daytime, I usually tend to go for the Leica lenses more, because they have much warmer tones and they of course deliver results. But as a lens that I would like to take along with me for travel purposes, where I don't want to be worried about you losing it or having issues with it, well, this lens delivers it. And this is the one that I personally will say to any beginner: try it out, test it, use it, and you're going to like this lens. This is what I feel about it. Now, if you want to read in further details about this lens, there is an article that I've written, which you can find the link down in the description section below, where you can find step by step of how I use this lens and what I did with it and how I got these results. And if you have comments, please do leave a comment in this section below, or you can write in the comment section in the article, and I will be able to answer your questions if you have any. And I look forward to seeing you in our next review.